It was a quiet evening in the mansion of Ethan Reeves, a man whose name echoed across the city as a symbol of wealth and power. The polished floors reflected the golden chandeliers, and the silence of his luxurious home felt almost sacred. Ethan had everything money could buy, except one thing: peace. His wife had passed away years ago, and the mansion that once echoed with laughter now stood cold, empty, and lonely. One night, as he returned home earlier than usual, he noticed something unusual: the kitchen lights were on. No one was supposed to be in there at this hour. His staff had already left. Curious and slightly alarmed, he walked quietly toward the kitchen, his polished shoes clicking softly against the marble floor. As he stepped closer, he froze. There, on the cold kitchen tiles, was a little girl, no older than 6, barefoot, her dress torn, her hair messy. She was holding a loaf of bread in her tiny hands, trembling as she tore small pieces and stuffed them into her mouth. Her eyes widened when she saw him standing at the door. For a moment, neither spoke. The air was thick with tension and fear. Ethan's deep voice finally broke the silence. "Who are you? What are you doing in my kitchen?" The little girl clutched the bread tighter, tears filling her eyes. "I'm sorry, sir. I was so hungry. I didn't mean to steal." Her voice quivered, each word wrapped in guilt. Ethan's expression softened. He walked closer, his expensive shoes stopping just inches away from her. He noticed how frail she was, her small hands shaking from hunger. He could have called security or even the police, that would have been the easy choice. But something inside him stopped him. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Lily," she whispered. "I live in the alley behind your house. My mom, she's sick. We haven't eaten since yesterday." Her words hit him harder than he expected. For the first time in years, Ethan felt something stir in his chest: compassion. He took a slow breath and crouched down to meet her eyes. "Lily, you don't have to steal to eat," he said softly. "If you were hungry, you could have asked." She looked down in shame. "I tried to knock on the door before, but your guards shouted at me. I was scared." Ethan's heart sank. He looked at the small, trembling child and realized how far removed he had become from the world outside his golden walls. His wealth had isolated him, and in doing so, he'd forgotten what kindness truly meant. "Come with me," he said gently. Lily hesitated, unsure whether to trust him. But when he extended his hand, she slowly placed her tiny fingers in his. He led her to the dining room, a place that had remained untouched since his wife's death. He asked the maid to bring fresh food. As the plates were set before her, Lily's eyes widened with disbelief. "Eat as much as you like," Ethan said with a small smile. She began eating slowly, then faster, unable to hide her hunger. Ethan watched quietly, a lump forming in his throat. When she finally stopped, she looked at him shyly and said, "Thank you, sir. You're very kind." He smiled faintly. "Kindness doesn't cost anything, Lily. But it can change everything." As they talked, Ethan learned that Lily's mother had been a seamstress before falling ill. They had lost their small home, and since then, Lily had been doing whatever she could to keep them alive. The more she spoke, the more Ethan realized how unfair life could be, and how blind he had been to the suffering around him. That night, Ethan didn't let Lily go back to the alley. Instead, he called his doctor to check on her mother. He had them both moved into a guest house on his property, promising that they would never have to sleep hungry again. In the following weeks, Ethan visited them often. Lily's laughter filled the air, and her mother slowly regained her health. The mansion that once felt like a tomb began to feel alive again. For the first time since his wife's passing, Ethan found purpose, not in making more money, but in changing lives. Months later, he opened a small foundation in memory of his wife, dedicated to feeding homeless children. Lily and her mother became the first to join, helping other families who once lived the same pain. One evening, as Lily played in the garden, she looked up at Ethan and said, "You saved us, sir." Ethan smiled warmly. "No, Lily. You saved me." From that day on, Ethan Reeves, the man once known only for his wealth, became known for his heart. His story spread across the city, inspiring others to look beyond wealth and see humanity. Sometimes, it takes the smallest hands to touch the biggest hearts.